This video is sponsored by Custom Covers.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah.
We are leaving Phoenix, so you can start saying goodbye to all the cacti for a while, because we are going to go up in elevation in a few here. Quite a bit, actually.
Riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah, I'm riding.
This is what I mean. And sometimes you gotta go 40 in a 60-mile-an-hour zone because you just can't do it.
Yep, we're gaining some serious elevation here.
Heck, sometimes you have to go down to 30 or 35.
See my temperature gauge? Yeah, in time I have learned to watch that gauge very closely when I'm towing uphill. And I have found out that as long as I slow down and take it easy, I can tackle almost any mountain. So far. I think we've reached the top for now. Rest area, yeah, I need a break. It is called the Sunset Point Rest Area.
Oh, coffee break.
I've been told that the desert critters don't come out when it is cold, so we're safe. Well, in any case, it is a nice view and I needed a break. And there is Minitini, looking cute. I actually overheard some people at the rest area say how cool my little camper was. Well, let's continue. It is gorgeous out here. This downhill drive here is just gorgeous as we approach Camp Verde and the Verde River and the Sedona Verde Valley. We're getting close. First, let's go see Montezuma Castle National Monument. I did some research on Google Maps and it looks like there is RV parking. Well, here we are.
We are at Montezuma Castle.
Here, actually, dip it in the...
They have a small museum here explaining the history, and you exit through the gift shop. It is such a gorgeous day, and there it is, what we came to see, the main cliff dwelling here. Well, the story goes, this used to be home to the southern Sinaguan people who lived here in the Verde Valley since around the year 700, and then in 1400 they just moved away. Nobody really knows why. The Sinaguans were farmers, hunter-gatherers, and at some point, just like the ancestral Pueblo people of Mesa Verde, they moved into cliff dwellings as well. And that's what we're seeing here.
Well, yeah, these were cliff dwellers, very similar, I guess, or probably the same as the ancestral Pueblo people we saw in Mesa Verde a couple of years ago.
See, very, very interesting, very cool. I got to use my annual pass for the first time. Well, apparently this was like an apartment building here, and according to the archaeologists, it burned down at some point. But yeah, this is what remains. It was like 6 stories high. As we look at the rock face, we can only imagine what it must have looked like when the Sinagua people lived here. There are 2 other major sites in the area, Montezuma's Well and Tusihut, but we're only going to visit this one today. The well doesn't have oversized parking, none that I can see in the satellite image, and Tusihut, it's a little bit of a detour. In a couple of days, we're also going to visit the northern Sinaguans at Walnut Canyon, which is just east of Flagstaff, so stay tuned for that. Sinagua, by the way, comes from the Spanish words sin, meaning without, and agua, meaning water. So these are the people without water? The name was given by the Spaniards when they arrived and couldn't find any permanent rivers in the area. Well, let's continue. Sedona awaits. At 5,000 feet above sea level, it is getting a little hot in the engine bay, and people are passing me at double my speed.
Oh, there is snow up here. This burst can be.
I have to climb to almost 7,000 feet though. I have decided to boondock at the Coconino National Forest, so I have to drive almost all the way to Flagstaff on I-17 and then backtrack a little bit south on the 89A, which gets really picturesque as you approach Sedona. I'm going to leave the trailer in the forest and continue with Kia on the steep grades and hairpin turns. We can see the San Francisco peaks in the distance, so we must be getting close. Here's where we go back south on the 89A. Here we are, our home for the night. Well, it is a little wetter and muddier than I expected, even a little slippery. In fact, right here, turning right, my traction failed, my wheels spinned, and I almost hit that sign. First scary moment of the week. Not the last one, for sure. More about that later. Let me just find the site and regroup here. This right here looks nice enough. Well, this is the Coconino National Forest. And guess what? This is where I'm staying. A little bit of a challenge coming down this road, but we'll be fine. To Sedona we go. It is past noon already, so we are not going to be able to do all that much today, but there's always tomorrow. Going south on the 89A, It is the most picturesque segment of the road as we go through this canyon here. The part that I wanted to avoid towing the trailer, that's why I drove further north on I-17 and then backtracked.
This is the Slide Rock State Park. So I'm gonna check it out tomorrow.
Yep, wishful thinking. The sight of these rock formations is a sign we are getting close to our destination. And here we are, downtown Sedona. The pink Jeep tours seem to be a staple in this town. The landscape so uniquely beautiful. I actually stumbled upon this residential neighborhood and decided to explore. Figured the hill would give me a better view, but what I'm really looking for is the Chapel of the Holy Cross, and I think it's this way. There it is, on the left. Let's find parking.
Do those look like people, or is it just me?
It is such a beautiful setting. Considered one of the 7 man-made wonders of Arizona, this is one of the must-see sites here in Sedona. It was completed in 1956, inspired and commissioned by local rancher and sculptor Marguerite Brunswick Studd. Check out this landscape all around us. The contrast of the red rock and the green vegetation against the deep blue sky. It is so peaceful out here as I walk down the ramp towards the parking lot. I think it is time to continue exploring Sedona. Let's stop down here one more time to get a better view. and they have porta potties. A little further down, we get this other view. And now for the final view. By the way, no RVs allowed. That is, of course, unless you have a fancy Class B. Okay, one last view of this wonderful structure, which seems to be wedged on the rock. It is almost surreal to finally be here and see it in person. Well, the day is quickly coming to an end, and I want to return to the forest before it gets dark. But before we go, there is one more place I want to see today. This is the spot called Lover's Knoll, and as suspected, it has a great view of these rock formations. I really wish I would have brought the drone, but one of those things. I left in a bit of a hurry. Yeah, this is just awe-inspiring. What a great view. I'm going to drive a little further down this road to this other vista point. Yeah, that's the shot right there, between the trees. Well, it is time to return to my boondocking spot in the forest. And tomorrow we'll return and do a hike or two. Here we are. But before we continue, let me tell you about Custom Covers, our sponsor here. And they make these steel covers for your RV to protect it from the weather, and they come in many different colors. Available in 29 states with a 2 to 4 week lead time. Just call Lisa at 501-455-4442, and if you tell her I sent you, she'll give you a 5% discount.
Well, good morning. From the Coconino National Forest here in Arizona. That's where we slept last night. And is that ice?
Yep, the ground seems to be pretty frozen still, and so is old Kia.
We've got ice.
Let's go back to Sedona and do a hike. Or two. I am particularly interested in the Cathedral Rock hike, and maybe one of the famous energy vortices in the area. Should be fun. Here we are, 9 a.m. in the morning, and not many people on the street. Not yet, anyways. No drones. I'm telling you, they are banning them from all the cool places, but in all fairness, it looks like there is an airport nearby.
Where you buy the pass. And then this you display in your car. Let's do the Cathedral Rock. Well, so far so good here. I am not in the greatest of physical shapes, but I'm not too bad. And yeah, it's up and up and up. Check out the other people on the trail up there. And I guess that was the easy part. Now comes the hard part.
Well, I've certainly never climbed anything like that.
Well, there's a very steep part of the trail. I had to put down the camera because I needed my hands to support myself to continue ascending here. And I think I'm gonna have to put down the camera.
It looks like someone lost their hat here.
Getting closer. Yeah, it's by far the hardest hike I've ever done. Oh yeah, by far the most difficult hike I've ever done. That part down there, you know, crawling through the rocks. Now this part is easy. Easy peasy. Check out the view. Almost there.
Well, one thing for sure. The view is absolutely breathtaking.
Check out the parking lot all the way down there. Well, I didn't quite make it all the way to the top. You know, a man has to know his limits, and as it is, this is more than my limit. I think I pushed it. It's a beautiful view. I think it was worth it. Look at that. You know, let me give you a 360. Maybe next time I'll make it to the top, you know. I've got to practice. still a long way down. And that's Kia is somewhere down there. Just came down through there. And now we continue. I guess these piles of rocks also mark the trail going down. Check it out. Well, camcorder just had a glitch, but apparently it is back. Yeah, don't tell anybody, but I dropped it on my way up. Wasn't a bad drop, but yeah. Oh, this is gonna be difficult. Yeah, it's so beautiful out here.
I'm back at the parking lot for a quick break.
I went to the car to take a break, get some water. And now I'm gonna attempt to do the trail that goes to the. It's an energy vortex.
It is called the Templeton Trail, and as you can see, my camera is getting worse by the minute. As I confessed earlier, I did drop it on the way up to Cathedral Rock. Maybe cracked a circuit board or something. I don't know. By the way, check out all these houses. They must have a tremendous view. We are getting close to the river, which is where the energy vortex is supposed to be.
I think we're getting close. I hear water.
Well, the camera finally died. Luckily, I still have my phone, at least for now. It's not the greatest, but I have it. This here is called Oak Creek, and somewhere down there is the aforementioned energy vortex. The Red Rock Crossing Vortex, it's called.
You've arrived.
Well, vortex or no vortex, it is still a beautiful spot.
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Well, it's time to head back.
Did I tell you I broke my good camera on the trail? Luckily there is a Best Buy in Flagstaff, and I'm gonna try to get something relatively inexpensive just to get by. Maybe I can get it fixed.
Continue on back Beyond Road for half a mile.
I'm gonna have lunch here at the Cowboy Club.
I sit at the bar, of course, savoring a good local IPA and the cowboy barbecue plate. Delicious.
Well, if I was staying here tonight, I would probably have the wine tasting, but it'll have to be some other time. Well, this is kind of the main strip here, downtown Sedona.
Well, now for real, it is time to go. There is a vista point here, the Oak Creek Vista, overlooking the Sterling Canyon. Oh yeah, truly breathtaking views from up here. I mean, I wish my good camera was still working. And there is still snow on the side of the canyon. Also, here by the parking lot, they are selling Native American crafts and jewelry and all that good stuff. Before I go, let me show you my environs right here in the middle of the Coconino National Forest. Okay, to Flagstaff we go.
Well, this is for sure the highest we've ever been, 7,000 feet.
There's an RV park right here to the right. Maybe I should call and find out if they have vacancy, but you know what? First things first. Let's buy that temporary camcorder. There's a better spot here. The RV park is called Black Bart's, and they even have a steakhouse.
Well, let's go for a quick drive around the town.
Well, let's explore Flagstaff just a little bit.
Take the next right onto North San Francisco Street, then your destination will be on the right.
And while we're at it, let's put this new cheap replacement camcorder through a quick test here. It'll have to get me by for the rest of the trip, you know. Here's the famous Monte Vista Hotel, as I look for parking here. There's the courthouse. And there is Route 66, which we will tackle on the next video. Here's the Orpheum Theater, dating back to 1911.
Check out all the snow on the street.
Okay, let's continue. Being the astronomy buff or enthusiast that I am, I want to see the Lowell Observatory. It is on top of a hill, pretty close to downtown. It looks like we're gonna get a pretty good view from here, so let's park. Here, let's enter here. It was originally established in 1894, and it was here that the former planet Pluto was discovered back in 1930.
It'd be nice to see the observatory, but I'm really tired, as you can probably tell. It's $15 admission, so I don't know if for the amount of time that I'm going to be here, if it is worth it. It seems to be geared more for children, really. Although it would have been cool to see the place where they discovered the planet that is no longer a planet. No, that is not the planet. Like the kaleidoscope. Oh well. Let me see if we can go there just to see the cupola, and then I think I'm gonna go back to the RV park, edit some video.
There it is. On the next video, we are going to start driving east towards Albuquerque, getting our kicks on Route 66. If you have enjoyed traveling with us, make sure you are subscribed and check out my other videos. Also, share it with your friends, spread the word, and leave me a comment. Now, if you really liked it, you have a chance to show your support at patreon.com/travelingrobert. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road.